Youth coaches, what's the craziest parent meltdown you've dealt with? I've been coaching Little League Baseball for 12 years, seen plenty of crazy parents screaming at umpires and fighting in parking lots, but nothing prepared me for what happened last season with Tyler's mom. Tyler was 7 years old, barely knew which end of the bat to hold. Sweet kid with freckles and a gap-toothed smile, but zero athletic ability. He'd strike out swinging at pitches in the dirt, trip over his own feet running to first base, and once threw the ball backwards to home plate during a pop fly. His mom Rebecca sat in the exact same spot every single game. Front row bleachers, giant floppy sun hat, oversized team shirt, always screaming encouragement. "You got this, baby!" And "Show them what you're made of, Tyler!" Even when her son struck out for the 4th time in a row. She seemed like the absolute perfect supportive parent. Never complained about playing time, never criticized other kids' mistakes, never argued with umpires, always brought fresh orange slices and juice boxes for the whole team after games. But I started noticing some really weird things about Rebecca's behavior. She would stay after every single practice, timing Tyler's sprints around the bases with a digital stopwatch. She'd make him do extra batting practice in the empty parking lot while other parents were loading equipment and driving home. One evening after a particularly long practice, I was packing up the team's equipment when I overheard Rebecca on her phone behind the concrete dugout. She was talking to someone about performance enhancement options and getting results fast for youth athletes. I figured she meant protein powder or vitamin supplements. Lots of parents get a little too intense about their kids' nutrition and training routines these days. Then came our championship game against the Eagles. Bottom of the 9th inning, we're down by 2 runs with bases loaded and 2 outs. Tyler steps up to the batter's box, the same kid who hadn't gotten a single hit all season long. But something was completely different about him that day. He looked more focused, calmer, more confident in his stance. His shoulders were broader somehow. He took his position and waited patiently for the pitcher's first throw. First swing of the bat, perfect line drive straight up the middle of the field. All 3 runners scored easily. We won the championship game. Tyler's teammates completely mobbed him at home plate while Rebecca screamed and cried tears of joy in the stands. After the celebration finally died down and parents started taking pictures, Tyler ran toward the bathroom facilities. That's when I noticed something that made my blood run completely cold. There was a small circular bandage on his upper arm right where you typically get an injection. It looked fresh, maybe a day old. Still had that white medical tape residue around all the edges. I pulled Rebecca aside near the concession stand and casually asked if Tyler had been to see his pediatrician recently for any reason. She got defensive immediately, voice getting higher and shakier. Said it was just his regular annual checkup, nothing serious or unusual, but her hands were trembling noticeably, and she kept avoiding direct eye contact with me. She kept glancing around nervously like she was afraid someone might be listening to our conversation. That night, I couldn't fall asleep. Something felt really wrong about Tyler's sudden transformation from bench warmer to hero. The next morning, I called Tyler's pediatrician directly. I'd coached his son Michael 2 years earlier, so we had a decent relationship and trust. I carefully explained my concerns about the dramatic improvement and that suspicious bandage. The doctor went completely quiet for what felt like forever. Then he told me Rebecca had been calling his office for months, asking detailed questions about growth hormone treatments and performance enhancement options for young athletes. When he'd firmly refused and explained the serious health risks, she'd gotten extremely angry and demanded he provide a referral to a sports medicine specialist who might be more willing to help. He'd actually filed a formal report with Child Protective Services weeks earlier, but the system moved slowly and he hadn't heard any updates about their investigation. Turns out Rebecca had been secretly driving 2.5 hours to some questionable clinic outside the city limits. She'd been paying cash money for hormone injection treatments for her 7-year-old son. She'd been lying to Tyler, telling him they were special vitamins designed to help young athletes play better and stronger. The poor kid had absolutely no idea his own mother was pumping him full of dangerous performance-enhancing drugs just so he could hit a baseball.